It's like, ooh.
Whoa! I have a hot tub too!
If you are house hunting or if you're interested about houses market, this vlog is gonna be interesting for you. So here's the backstory. We've wanted to move for several years. We live in a semi-detached house, and so we knew we don't want to be here forever. Especially when we started having kids, I was like, I want to move, I want to move. So the past 4 years, I've been like, I want to move. I'm just ready to let go of this house. I've never been attached to it. I never saw it as a forever home. Because we knew the market is hot right now and it's a really good time to sell, I mentioned to my husband, maybe it's a good time to sell our house, especially when it is painted and fixed up and looks a lot better. Maybe it's good to sell. We've been looking at houses for past 2 years. Never worked out to find something. So I'm like, maybe this is the year. So I want to share with you guys some of the houses that we saw. I recorded some. In the beginning, I didn't record any houses. There was one house, the first day we looked, we actually put an offer that night. The house is very outdated and we needed to do a lot of updating. The good thing about it was no one put offers, because right now there's a lot of bidding wars. There's like offer dates. It's like a whole new thing compared to 2 years ago, and they didn't even want to respond to us because they were offended by our offer. This house, I loved that it was all renovated, but the outside was not a good condition, and it actually was a really far location. My husband didn't want to live so far from work. They renovated it really nice. I love the kitchen, but the outside was actually a lot smaller, and there was like a scary creek beside it with a big drop, and it just wasn't safe for the kids. We knew this wasn't for us. The second house we saw that day was also a very tiny house, but it smelled like a brand new house. It was brand new, renovated, but the outside was really bad. It was like rotten siding, and the location was too far away. My husband did not want to move farther than where we are because it'd be a far drive from work. So we just knew this house was out of the picture. Then we saw one more house, the third house that day, and honestly, we really liked it. It was move-in ready. You don't need to renovate anything. Huge backyard with a pool and a hot tub, and it was a back split, and we loved it. And I think we're going to put an offer on it today, actually. Ah, look at this backyard. Is that so fun? And look, you can have a trampoline here. We didn't get the house. I was really upset. I was upset we didn't get the first house. I cried. And then we didn't get the other house with the big pool. And it was really hard. The house sold for like 90,000 more. It's hard because when you find a nice house, everybody's bidding for it and there's multiple offers. The house had 9 offers. We were like number 8. So, sucks, but. Well, it's been a few days. There was one house that I was interested in for a while, and we never actually got to see it because I didn't have a real estate at the time. I just found out it's up for sale again. Whoever put an offer, they fell through, they left. So I was like, is this a sign? Because this house has almost an acre lot. It's a decent sized house, but it's old. So we went to see it. It completely needs to be updated, like it needs to be renovated. It's very outdated. It's a 44-year-old house. They left it as is, but the cool thing about this house that really made us like it is it's custom built house. So it has so many unique things and features, like the curved doorways. I really love. My husband doesn't love it, but I like it. It's also like a side split house, which is like a leveled house. That's like a style we're used to. I love that the kitchen has a view of the outside where the kids can play. So there's just so much work in the house, but we really love the uniqueness and the potential we knew that if we renovate this house. Then we went to see a second house and we felt the same thing. We loved the space, but the backyard was still decent. It was dark already when we saw it, so we didn't really see how big it is that well. But the inside was so outdated too, and this house was actually like a 60s house. And then the basement was the most interesting. The colors and patterns, oh my goodness. I felt like I was walking to a different era, a different world. It was just such an interesting basement. And then the third house we saw that day, it was completely done, like ready to move in. But we saw there were so many people viewing it and they had the next day offer date. And we were just like, we don't want to look into another house that has multiple offers. We don't want to look into that. So we knew right away we're not going to look into the house. So the second house we saw that has a very unique basement, it's officially today, when I'm speaking, is the day when we have to give an offer. We found out there's 3 other offers. So unfortunately, we're like at the point of there might be a bidding war again. We might not get the house. So we didn't get the house. I expected. It had like 5 offers. Okay, it's another day. It's been a crazy like 30 hours. We were thinking to put an offer on the next house that we like, but we did find out it has a lot of issues. It's not just like you have to renovate and everything, but it actually has some structural issues. So we decided we're going to put a very low offer. My husband was actually excited to fix this house. The real estate said the owner is actually 80 years old. So I'm like, no wonder she never fixed up the house. So he said, I have to tomorrow see her, it's too late. So we had to wait all day until like around 1 o'clock he met up with her. So our real estate text the other real estate what's our last number, and if we don't get that number, we're not gonna go higher. We're gonna walk away. So around 3 p.m. they counted offer the number that we wanted. So we accepted the offer and we officially got the house. I mean, not officially, but you know, now we have to go through inspection and all that, but I can't believe it. Where should I start? It was a really long day yesterday. We were at the house for 3 hours having 2 inspections done. Well, it turns out the whole basement needs to be dug up and fixed, and that's a huge project, over $100,000. I'm totally relieved that we found this out and we can leave the deal, that we had a whole week for conditions. I'm just like at a point where I'm done with old houses. I don't know if we're gonna keep looking. I'm at a point where I just want to give up. But then I have this little hope where I'm like, I don't want to give up because I don't want to just settle. Maybe this is not the year again. I don't get it. Like, when is it going to be the year for us to move? So 2 days later, I begged my husband to look at another few houses, and this house was very interesting. It was actually very big and had a huge lot, which I loved, but the inside was very old. I'm guessing that this house might have been built in the 1920s. It was very interesting and unique for me, but we knew that this wasn't the house for us, and it's just, I was feeling really down that we are never going to find a decent looking house with our budget because everything just needed to be renovated, and it just wasn't worth spending so much money on buying a house that needed so many renovations. But the house was very interesting and unique. Oh my God. How old is this? And wallpaper. So it has been 1 week since we saw a house, and actually we were ready to give up, and I convinced my husband, let's look at 3 other houses that's up in market. We saw a house that actually was like a mini version of the house that we really liked, that we left the offer. So we kind of liked the layout and everything. It really reminded us of it. But we did not put an offer on this because we knew there's so many people interested in it. The next house we saw was completely renovated, so it was really nice. We're like, wow, someone renovated it so nicely. The backyard was not that big as we would like it to be. Kitchen was amazing, but we found out after that this house was actually bought in July, and they bought it $520,000. And then they renovated it all these months, and now it's December, and they are selling it for $600,000. So we're like, no way are we gonna buy a house that someone just bought a couple months ago. Then the house we saw that day, I really liked the size of it. The main floor was really nice. It had everything on my checklist: a family room, a living room, a dining room, a kitchen. This is actually one of the few houses that we saw that were 2-story. Most of the houses we saw were actually leveled houses. I love that it had a main laundry room. The downfall about this house is it had a basement apartment, and there actually was tenants there, and they did not let anyone go in. They locked all the doors. So we had no interest in offering a house that had someone living in there because you don't know what the situation is. And plus the backyard wasn't that great as well. And then the last house we saw that day, we decided to see a new house that was only 3 years old, and it was beautiful, but we knew it was like right on our budget, and we knew it was going to have a lot of offers. But the kitchen was amazing. Definitely need to remember this kitchen to have an island like this in a future home. But we didn't offer anything, and this house did sell like $100,000 more than our budget. After we saw those houses that evening, we were like, you know what, we are not going to look at any more houses. We just felt like there's nothing for us. And that evening I told our real estate, like, I think we're just gonna wait till next year. And then that evening I remember there was this house for sale for a while, and it's a very tiny house, and it's like in the 1800s, but it has a really big lot. I think it's like almost an acre, and it's actually located right by a whole bunch of huge houses that are new built. So I told my husband, let's check out this house. Maybe we can build our dream home. We can't find our dream home. Maybe we should build it. So we saw the next day on a Sunday, and wanted to see how the land looks, thinking about, is there something potential to build? So we checked it out. The house was listed pretty high for something to like rebuild. So we decided we're going to put a very low offer that's something we can afford to crash and rebuild. And unfortunately, the owner responded that he will not accept a certain amount. So when he said he's not going to put a lower price, we were like, well, I guess building a house is not meant to be. And so my husband was just like, I am done. Like, don't even talk to me about houses anymore. It's just not working out. So we took a little break, and I would always look online, and I got an email from the real estate, and I saw also on Zillow this one house, and I'm like, this street sounds familiar. And it ended up being, we actually saw a house a month ago that was right in that street. So those houses, we really liked the house, but we never actually put an offer in it because we knew it would sell really high. So I was like, oh, I remember that house. Like, I really like the layout and the area. I couldn't stop thinking about this house. And so the next day, you know, it's still up, and I still can't stop thinking about it. And then it was the third day, and I still couldn't stop thinking about this house. So all morning I was thinking about this house, like, maybe we should check it out, just maybe we should check it out. And so I didn't even ask my husband. I just, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I just texted real estate quickly and said, can we see this house tonight? And she's like, no problem. And then I did book another house as well, just for the sake of not like looking at one, but I wasn't really interested in that one. But I just texted my husband the address and said, go to this house after work. So he had no idea. He had to just after work drive straight to this house. So we went to the one house I didn't really care about. I just wanted to kind of look at it, thought maybe it looks nice in real life than in pictures. But that house actually had offers that night, and we were just like, right away, no way, we don't like this house. And then we went to see the house that I was interested in, and right away when I went in,
I remembered like how the other house we saw a month ago. I'm like, I love this layout. I really like this house. It's not brand new or renovated, but it is move-in ready and it is not in a bad shape at all. So I was like, I really like this house, and I didn't really show my excitement to my husband or to the real estate, but I think she kind of saw interest because I kept kind of looking back at the rooms, and usually I look at houses fast. And I just said to my husband, I really, really want to put an offer in this house. Like, I really like this house. It has everything in my checklist, except it doesn't have like the biggest backyard, but everything else is in my checklist. So we drove home and the real estate messaged me that the offer date is tomorrow. And I was like, what? At 10 in the morning, we quickly signed our offer paperwork. I remember I was in a shower and I was just like praying, let your will be done, God. Because other times I'm just begging and crying like I want a house, or I want this house. And this time I just said, let your will be done, let your will be done, let your will be done. Not my will, but your will. And next thing you know, in the middle of my shower, my phone is ringing. So I jump out of the shower and it's my real estate. And I was like, what? Like what? Like when she calls, it's usually good news. So she calls and says, the sellers want to work with me and someone else. We have the best offers, but they want to give us a second chance to give another better offer. We decided to put just a little bit more to offer, and then literally a minute later, they said, congratulations, you got it. I was like telling the kids, we got the house, we got the house. We need to say thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, that we got the house. We've been praying to get a house and we finally got a house. So it was sweet that my 5-year-old was like praying with me, thanking God. And I just can't believe it that we actually got one of the best offers, because it's just never happened. So I hope this video was interesting for anyone who has been trying to find a house or has been on the lookout or interested in the market. Hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video, which probably will be all about selling my house. Okay, bye.